There are stories that frighten us. There are stories that confuse us. And then, there are stories that stay with us forever. Tonight's case is one of the latter. It's the heartbreaking mystery of two Colorado teenagers, best friends who simply walked into the foothills one gentle spring afternoon in 2008, and were never seen alive again. For 5 long years, their families searched, begged, cried, prayed, always holding on to a tiny piece of hope that somewhere, somehow, their children were still out there. But when the truth finally surfaced in the most unexpected and chilling place imaginable, it shattered investigators, devastated the town, and left a lingering question that may never be answered. How did two bright, innocent teenagers end up wrapped together inside the depths of an abandoned mining pit? Grab your seat. This one is emotional and unforgettable. Before we uncover the chilling details of what really happened to Lucas and Harper, the two best friends whose disappearance haunted an entire town. Make sure to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss stories like this. Now let's begin. In 2008, in the quiet town of Evergreen, Colorado, two teenagers were well known by residents not because they stood out in any dramatic way, but because they brought warmth wherever they went. 17-year-old Lucas Paxton. Tall, a little shy, loved photography. Always carried an old Nikon camera he'd inherited from his grandfather. A good kid, the type who held doors open and apologized even when something wasn't his fault. And his closest friend, 16-year-old Harper Linwood. Bright, curious, artistic. Always sketching in her journal. Social, funny, and the emotional balance to Lucas's quiet energy. The two had been friends since middle school. Their families joked they were like siblings, always teasing each other, always supporting each other. They walked together to school, sat together at lunch, and spent weekends exploring the forests and foothills behind their neighborhood. They were inseparable. So when they vanished, the town didn't just lose two teenagers. It lost two lights. It was April 19th, 2008, a Saturday with perfectly mild weather. Not too warm, not too cold. The kind of day Colorado families use for hiking. The kind of day Harper always called adventure weather. That morning, Harper texted Lucas about exploring a new trail she found behind a cluster of old mining land west of Evergreen, an area mostly avoided because of unstable ground and old industrial shafts. But they weren't going to the mining site itself, just the ridge above it. At least, that's what they told their families. Around 1:20 p.m., Lucas's mother saw them walking down the street, backpacks on, Lucas's camera around his neck. They were laughing about something, leaning into each other like the lifelong friends they were. That was the last time anyone saw them alive. When both teens failed to return home, their families immediately panicked. Harper always checked in. Lucas always texted his mom before his phone died. They weren't the kind of teens who ignored calls. By nightfall, police joined the search. Search teams combed the forests. Drones scanned the foothills. Dozens of volunteers searched through the night with flashlights. Bloodhounds followed faint trails that led nowhere. Everything they did yielded nothing. For weeks, investigators struggled to build a meaningful timeline. They confirmed the teens never entered any official hiking trails. Their phones last pinged near an undeveloped wooded section close to the abandoned mining grounds, but the area was massive, practically a maze. As weeks turned into months, and months turned into years, theories began to fill the void. Did they run away? Did someone lure them? Did they fall into a ravine? Did they encounter someone dangerous? No evidence emerged. The only truth anyone could agree on was this: something terrible happened. And it happened quickly. The mining grounds near where their phones last pinged were once part of the historic White Cliffs mining district, a network of deep pits, tunnels, and extraction shafts dating back to the 1920s. By 2008, the area wasn't used anymore. Nature had reclaimed most of it. Trees grew over broken machinery. Dirt covered rusted rails. Birds nested inside collapsed tunnels. But beneath the surface was something far more dangerous. A massive open mining cavity, nearly 200 feet deep, wide as a football field, surrounded by unstable ground. It wasn't a place anyone walked into willingly. Not even investigators. They conducted a surface search of the area in 2008. But going deeper wasn't possible without heavy equipment, funding, and specialized crews, none of which were authorized because nothing suggested the teens were there. No one imagined that beneath that silent ground, the truth waited patiently. 5 years is a heavy amount of time when your child is missing. Every birthday became torture. Every anniversary reopened wounds. Every unknown caller brought a surge of hope, followed by heartbreak. Harper's mother kept her daughter's room exactly the same, bed made, books on the shelf, her favorite lavender candles untouched. Lucas's father left the porch light on every night for 5 years straight. The families formed support groups. They partnered with missing children organizations. Their hopes rose and shattered countless times as false sightings came and went. Investigation after investigation led nowhere. Until the summer of 2013, when an unexpected discovery changed everything. In August 2013, a small group of geology students from a nearby college gained permission to map old Colorado mining zones as part of a research project. And one of those zones was the long-abandoned White Cliffs pit. Their job was simple: take measurements, photograph structures, and determine whether the land was suitable for conservation. On the second day of surveying, a student named Callum noticed something odd. At the bottom of the massive pit, buried under loose rock and debris, was something that didn't match the natural environment. A soft material, dark in color, slightly exposed. At first he thought it was a piece of weathered tarp. He climbed down carefully, expecting nothing. But when he knelt beside the object, brushed away dirt, he froze completely, because beneath the layers of soil was fabric from a backpack. And next to it, a second backpack, torn and decayed, both partially wrapped in what looked like old nylon material, almost like the teens had been bundled or tightly constrained in some fashion. Callum called the others. They alerted authorities immediately. Within hours, the sheriff's department, forensic units, and mining rescue professionals descended on the site. Everyone had the same sinking feeling. They didn't just find personal belongings. They found the missing teens. The mining pit was incredibly unstable. It took 2 days to clear safe access. Rescuers used slow, careful excavation to remove rocks piece by piece. And then, they found them. 2 sets of remains, wrapped in decayed material, positioned close together, as if someone had placed them there intentionally. The backpacks nearby were badly damaged, but still identifiable. Inside one of them was a faded notebook, Harper's sketchbook. Inside the other, Lucas's camera, broken, crushed, but unmistakably his. The remains were confirmed through dental records. After 5 years of torture, the families finally had their answer. But the answer raised even darker questions. The county medical examiner worked for months trying to understand what happened inside that pit. Theories emerged, but none were definitive. Theory 1. An accidental fall. Maybe the teens wandered too close to the unstable edge and both slipped into the massive cavity. But forensics weakened this idea. The teens were wrapped in material. The backpacks seemed positioned, not scattered. No natural fall explained the packaging. Theory 2. Foul play. This seemed more plausible. Someone could have taken the teens, harmed them, dumped them into the pit, wrapped them to prevent immediate identification. But no signs of trauma survived decomposition. No suspect ever emerged. No known enemies existed. No suspicious sightings were reported in 2008. Theory 3. Mining shaft collapse. Some locals speculated the teens entered an old tunnel they didn't know existed. A collapse could have dragged them downward. But again, the wrapping remained unexplained. There was one final theory: a failed attempt at survival. Some investigators suggested the teens might have fallen or become trapped, and attempted to use old mining fabric or tarps found nearby to stay warm or sheltered. But this didn't explain their placement or the lack of evidence of struggle. The truth. No theory fully fit. The discovery was shocking, but the mystery remained unsolved. One unsettling detail emerged during forensic processing. Inside Lucas's damaged camera, the memory card, though partially corrupted, held fragments of images. Most were blurry due to damage. But one photo stood out. The timestamp was from the day they vanished, and it showed Harper standing near a tree, smiling, with a faint shadowy figure behind her, far off, but unmistakably human. The distance made it impossible to identify the person. Investigators questioned everyone living near the mining zone in 2008. No lead ever materialized. On a September evening in 2013, the people of Evergreen gathered at the high school gym for a memorial service. Photos of Lucas and Harper lined the stage. Candles flickered. The community cried openly, 5 years of grief finally breaking apart. Harper's mother stood before the crowd and said, "I used to dream she was out there somewhere. Now I dream she is at peace. But I still wonder, how did my little girl end up there? And why?" Lucas's father added, "We finally buried our son. But the mystery buried with him may never be uncovered." Investigators officially closed the case as death under undetermined circumstances. But unofficially, the sheriff admitted, "It's the most haunting case I've ever seen." The mining pit where the teens were found was eventually sealed and fenced off by the county. A memorial plaque was placed near the entrance of the old trail, in memory of Harper Linwood and Lucas Paxton. Forever young, forever missed. Visitors often leave flowers. Some leave drawings. Harper loved art. Others leave photography prints. Lucas's passion. The area is silent now. Peaceful, but heavy with emotion. Some locals say the place feels watched. Others say it feels protected. But everyone agrees. It's impossible to stand there and not feel the weight of 2 lives cut short, and 2 souls never forgotten. 2 best friends. 1 afternoon adventure. 5 years of searching. And an ending no one was prepared for. Lucas and Harper's story reminds us how fragile life is, and how quickly everything can change. Tonight, we honor their memory and the love they left behind.